does it feel to be back in New York, man?
Oh, great, man. I'm in the city right now. I'm literally in the city. I'm training limited martial arts, like while I'm here. Like, so it's pretty good. You know? I feel like I'm back in my element. You know, I feel very motivated. You know, I feel very driven. You know what I mean? And, I mean, I always am to some extent, but this time it's like it's personal. You know, it feels like it's really close to heart.
Why is it close to heart? Why is it personal for you?
Well, I'm seeing a lot of people that I haven't seen in years. You know, like people who like were with me when I first started training. I didn't know how to fight at all. You know, I see them. They're grown now. They have kids. You know, they've in different stages in life, and they've been supporting me the whole way. You know, even though I haven't seen them in a long time, they've been telling me how they've been following my career and like wishing me the best. And just that support. You know, like it's crazy. Sometimes like I was running. This actually was in California, but I was running the other day, and somebody was like, "Hey man, go get it," you know. And I don't know this guy, but I was like, "Yeah." I felt just a sudden wave of energy, and I feel like when you get that from people that you know and you know for years, you know, like it's something that sticks with you.
Yeah, it hits you like emotionally, right?
Yeah, and that's the best drive to me. It's the emotional one. I mean, you can make something work logically. You know what I mean? Like I should do this because blah blah blah. But when you remember like people's facial expressions and smiles and stuff like that, like it really makes it uh, something that is ingrained in your heart. So you don't forget it when it's time to go out there.
All right, man. Let's get into this fight coming up, man. UFC Long Island. You're facing Dustin Stoltzfus. You know, he won on the Contender Series and then had some problems, entering the UFC. What do you think of his style?
He has a very I mean, he's from Pennsylvania. I was Pennsylvania style. You know, he's well rounded. You know, he's good in places, but it's not one area that really like gets in my mind that I watch out for. It's more of like this well-rounded guy. You know, I have my specialty, striking, you know, and I think I'm gonna be able to put some things on him there that he will be having a hard time to deal with. You know.
Do you do you see him more as a grappler? You know, I know he's well rounded. Everybody's well rounded, but do you see him as more of a grappler?
I think so, but it's hard to. It's really hard to personally to call him a grappler because I've trained with like Khabib and DC and these guys. You know, so like when I think of grappler, I think of these like hardcore specialists where like if you even poke them the wrong way, they're gonna grab your finger and end up on your neck. You know, so I don't think he's like that kind of grappler, but I do think he is comfortable grappling. Yeah, he's comfortable there.
You know, going back to your days training with like DC and Habib, you know what I mean? And like you said, those guys are grapplers, those guys are wrestlers. And the experiences that you have from that, does it still affect you even to this day, you know what I mean? The training sessions?
Yeah, because I know when I'm slacking, what can happen. You know, so it's more like I'm training, but I'm not training just to beat this guy. I'm training because I know that the best guys in the world will pick up on this mistake or they pick up on that mistake, and I think that's something that uh, if you have trained somebody at that level, you don't know it's possible to end up in such a bad situation. You know, somebody got their legs wrapped around your shin guards, you trying to get free for like 5 minutes. That's something that you don't forget. So yeah, I think it definitely affects me to this day. You know.
Yeah. And the big topic of conversation will be you moving up to middleweight, which you're actually moving back to middleweight. You know, what's the reason behind the return?
Well, I mean, in the last fight, I felt like I was good, and I felt like training wise, I always make weight, so it's not like a problem making weight. But I did notice that like when I knocked the guy down, and then I went in for the finish, like I felt a little weird off balance, and I was like, that's kind of weird, you know. And then even trying to escape some of the stuff, like I guess the cage, it felt very like laborious, and it was the first round, you know. And I think I sat down, and I thought about it, you know, when I fight in 170, within like a minute and a half of the fight, I have this big wave of like, okay, you got to push now, push like push, you know. And if I fight 185, I get that in the third round, at the end of the third round, you know. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like something's not right. Where my body's recognized that I'm in trouble, even though mentally I'm fine. Like my body is like, hey man, you got a lot of work to do. You gotta start pushing. And since I've been training like now 185, I'm so like I really lament the fact that I haven't done it sooner. Like my life is full right now. Like like I'm present in the moment with people. I'm not cutting weight to cut weight. You know, so now we're like a week out from the fight, and I'm talking to you. This is probably the most relaxed I've ever been. I just had lunch. You know, so these things make a huge difference. The quality of life has definitely improved. And even yesterday, I was doing wall work with my coaches, and that's the part of camp that I dread the most usually because I'm close to the fight. I got this hard session, and it was easy. And to me, that's a big improvement.
Yeah, there's been many successful fighters that have moved from 170 to 185. Just to name a few: Whitaker, Gastelum, Till. What is it about the extra 15 pounds? You explained it a little bit right there, but yeah, is
Yeah.
it that mental clarity heading into a fight week?
I think it's just that. I mean, it sounds it's crazy. Like when I say it, it's gonna sound so like rudimentary. I'm like, well, of course, but you understand. You have more water in you, you know, and you don't have to lose it because like from my last camp, for example, I got down to like 180 something, and then I had to cut, which is normal. You know what I mean? I'm not doing anything out of the ordinary, but I have to change my life to get down to that weight class, to get down to 182 just regularly. I had to do a lot of changes in the way I eat, the way I train. I can only do like 2 sessions a day at one point because I don't have enough energy to do like 3 or 4 sessions. Now I'm doing so much, and it's almost to the point to where I have so much time and energy that I'm doing extra things, and I have time I have to chill. Otherwise, I'd be burnt out. So I think what it is you're able to train harder and get more output, and it's less taxing on you, and you have more durability in the fight, more like energy and more willingness to trade because you're not like on a time limit here, so it makes a difference.
Yeah, it seems like you've been able to optimize your training camp a lot more because of the extra weight. Like you said earlier, you're doing a weight cut to prepare yourself for the weight cut, which
Yeah.
is crazy to me.
Well, that's something I've said that I said it before, but when I said in my last camp, I think with everything that happens, like it kind of stood out more. I told my coach after we made weight, I was like, "Oh, hard part's done," and he looked at me and was like, "Still got to fight," But I, that stuck out my mind so much because I was thinking to myself like, I don't even think the fight is one thing. Yeah, I could do that, but the weight cut is that's the hard part. And when I started quantifying like that, I was like, man, that's kind of stupid. Like I'm so like afraid of this one part that has nothing to do with the fight. But then like this other part, I'm like, yeah, this is really important, But that's not the actual fight. The actual fight is fighting the guy, not fighting the scale. So I think that's a good reason to move on to high class.
For sure. And you're never in a boring fight. There's always someone getting knocked down or knocked across the
Yeah.
cage. In your last fight, you had some strong moments, man. You had a near finish. What were your overall thoughts on what transpired in that first round?
Man, I am such like a bitter person, like a bitter person. Like I try, like when it comes to me fighting, like everybody else, this is a problem I have. Like when I'm about to finish somebody and like I'm hitting them and it doesn't get stopped, and then I get hit, and then if I get stopped, I'm always angry. But like, and that's only happened one time before. But with this one, I was on my feet looking at the guy, and then they stopped it, and that's the part that upset me the most. But at the same time, I see this guy all excited and celebrating, and I'm like, man, he happy right now. But this guy, like, even though I didn't win, this guy worked hard for that win. He worked hard. I heard DC say when I left the ring, he was like, man, this is the biggest win of your career. And I was like, oh, God bless, man. I know this guy's happy right now. But, you know what I mean? At the same time, uh, I'm upset that they stopped it. If it would have been the same outcome in like round 3 or the next round or something similar, I wouldn't care about the outcome. It's just the way it happens. Like if you're gonna beat me up, let me get beat up, man. Like you know what I mean? Like you gotta let me go out. Like I was just talking to my coach here. I trained with him since I was my first coach. Phil Cruz over here at Let Me Know Martial Arts. This dude, we were talking about fights I had before, and I fought this guy from Canada who was like ended up being like world champion. I think I might have mentioned before, and he beat me up. You know what I mean? Like I got my behind ripped. And after the fight, I was like, "Hey man, good fight." I didn't care because I did everything I could. When I went to sleep that night, there was no "what if I woulda, I shoulda, coulda, woulda." It was like, bro, you got whooped. And I appreciate that sleep, than going to bed like, man, if they'd let it go on a couple more minutes, I'd have been able to. So that's what I'm saying. It's nothing masochistic about it. I'm not trying to say like, oh, I want to get punished, want pain, but I'm training for a fight. I'm at a professional level. So let me go out there and do my thing. I like wild fights.
Yeah,
That's what I like. Yeah.
And in a few of your fights, you've knocked down your opponent, and it was a near finish. The referee didn't jump in. Do you think like
Yeah.
those near finishes puts pressure on the ref to stop the fight when there's a near finish, maybe in the next round or even later in that same round?
Well, the problem with this is it's the same referee that did to me twice, you know? So I feel like either this guy must love me so much he don't want to see me take any kind of punishment. It's like I'm on top of these guys beating them, and he just standing there. And then when it's my turn, he's just like, oh, no, Dwight. Dwight has to go home to his family, you know? So, I mean, I think that's it is a kind of a pressure. And they got a hard job. I'm not like mad at the ref or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? I'm upset with the situation, of course, but it's more that I understand they have a hard job, and they're really trying to make it so that everybody has a fair shake about what's going on. You know, but I mean, you got two grown men fighting, and it's wild. If I fought a measured fight and it was slower, people would have more time to think about it. But I told you guys last time I'm going out there to cause havoc immediately, and not out of no malice, just because this is my way of expressing my martial arts, and I'm gonna do the same thing again in this match at a heavier weight class. So it's just like I'm gonna have more energy to do it. And I think that they will have to make sure that they stop it. And also, my friends and family tell me now, like, look, it's not your job to look out for the safety of your opponent. You know what I mean? When you finish it, it's the ref's job to stop it. And that sounds like common sense, but to me, I'm like, you know what I mean? We're colleagues in a way when we're competing here. Uh, I want everybody to be able to go home and be fine. Also, so if I think somebody's out, I'm gonna stop hitting them. I had to come to that realization. It makes me sound like a punk when I say it, like, all right, but whatever. I'm not trying to go out there and like end anybody's life or career. I'm trying to like end the fight for sure, and the ref has to stop it. But now I'm gonna put more effort to making sure the ref stops. you know.
Definitely. And you always had power, in your punches. Do you feel more powerful at this weight, like during this training camp? The pop.
Well, there's definitely a much, I say, more effortless. I feel like that's like a weird way to say it. But I definitely feel like delivering hard shots is not an effort thing anymore in this weight class because I'm not pushing myself to do it. I'm just doing it because I'm hitting the pads, And definitely there's more pop in the punches. But I think the most important thing is I can throw more punches more often, And as long as I engage, we always have a good match because it's up to me at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like my opponents are look. I'm not trying to say like they have no power or whatever it is, but the reality is like I'm the power puncher 99% of the time that I'm in a fight. So like whatever I do is gonna dictate the match. As long as I engage, it's gonna be a great match. As long as I engage, they're gonna have to defend. They're gonna have to fight back. If I don't fight them, they're not gonna fight me because who's gonna like engage with somebody that can knock them out? You know what I mean? Not even because of the skill, but it's because of the coaches are like, hey man, watch out for his left hook or watch out for his right hand, and then they're gonna be tempered and measured. I'm teaching them in the fight by hitting them to not engage with me. So of course I'm not gonna engage with me. And I'm looking back and being honest with myself. It's up to me. So I'm gonna be definitely engaging a lot more than I've ever have been.
How does it feel to have someone personally commentating your fights, like DC?
It's a little weird sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. It's not weird because of anything that he's doing in particular, but it's more because like, man, like I trained with this guy for like what 7 years, something like that. So like when I hear him talk, automatically feel like I'm in the gym. You know what I mean? Like this is a guy whose voice I know anywhere. He could whisper in a crowded room, and I'm like, oh, DC's in the room. Like I just hear. And he has a particular voice, so you know his voice. So it's like in that sense it's weird, but also it's really calming too because I've had sparring sessions where like you see him bring a friend, and he's like coaching that friend against me, you know what I mean? And I'm like, hey, get out of here, So no matter what, like it's motivation, and you want to win in front of people generally, no matter what, you want to win in front of people that you know. So I'm definitely motivated by it, but also sometimes I'm like, it's kind of weird seeing this guy right now, but it's all good.
All right, man. One last thing, man. Since you've studied many striking arts and you are a striker, I gotta ask you about Alex Pereira, man, and his knockout
Oh,
over Sean Strickland, man. What did you think of that?
oh, shucks. Man, it's something that happened that I feel people are not giving Strickland enough credit in his approach. They're like, oh, why would he be here? Why would he be? Look, Strickland is a striker too. Like you can't expect a guy who strikes to all of a sudden be like, oh, I'm gonna now turn into a grappler. Can he grapple? Yeah, I know Strickland can grapple. I know he can wrestle. But at the same time, he's a top ranked middleweight that has his skill level, his confidence in his fists, and his, you know what I mean? So why would he back down from anybody and then start running away and start grabbing legs and all stuff like that? That's not who the guy is. The guy is a fighter, and he comes to fight. With that said, obviously Pereira is good at kickboxing, So it's like it's easy to say that he should have done something else. Strickland has openings in his striking like everybody else does, But certain guys like her are able to find him a little easier and wait for it. I don't think anybody is going to catch Strickland like that again. I think he's going to make an adjustment and it's going to make him a better fighter down the line for sure. So I think it's really important to remember that like all of us, all the strikers feel like we're the best in the world. If we didn't feel that way, we wouldn't let them close the cage door. We were standing on the outside. So I think it was a good fight though.